Mayor Adams says supporting asylum seekers is putting New York City into a financial crisis. Since last spring, nearly 100,000 asylum seekers have arrived in New York City. More than 200 emergency sites have opened, including Randall's Island, hotels like the Roosevelt in Midtown, and schools like PS 188 in Coney Island. For each of the 57,000 asylum seekers living in the city now, it costs $383 per night, and the mayor says it all adds up to $3.6 billion a year. So what about relief? Some is on the way. CBS 2's Marcia Kramer here now with the story. Marcia.
Well, Dana, the mayor's new estimate of the cost of welcoming asylum seekers was for sure a shock to the system. And tonight, the state is stepping up.
We are facing an unprecedented state of emergency.
Mayor Adams wasn't kidding. He says the city's cost of welcoming asylum seekers from all over the world to New York City's shores is expected to triple, yes, triple, to an eye-popping $12 billion.
This is not just about numbers. This is about people fleeing despair and trauma.
The mayor also spoke about another trauma, the trauma to the people of New York City, who will have to endure dramatic service cuts unless state and federal governments open up their checkbooks.
$12 billion. $12 billion. That has to come from somewhere. Every service in this city will be impacted.
While the silence from Washington from the Biden administration was deafening, Governor Hochul immediately stepped up to the plate. She said she would add to the $1 billion already budgeted for New York City.
I've already spoken to leaders about probably the need to put another billion in next year's budget. We have to deal in the realities. There has to be money to support the city in housing these individuals because this is a humanitarian crisis, not of their own making.
The governor's already agreed to have the state foot the bill to open a new shelter on Randall's Island and another in the parking lot at the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens.
We're also scouring the state of New York and particularly in the city for locations that we can use in a large-scale way, not just the small centers or the hotels.
She said she is also trying to convince the Biden administration to let immigrants work, to change their status from asylum seekers to something called temporary protective status, TPS.
What does that mean? After 30 days, they can start working. I have hundreds of employers all across this state who would love to have the opportunity to hire these individuals, train them first, hire them, and bring them into the legal economy because they're sliding into the illegal economy now, especially here in the city.
Mayor Adams lamenting that the lack of work permits has created a black market job culture.
I'm really curious of what's happening and how some of these migrant asylum seekers are being exploited. And so when you create this black market of workers, you undermine not only our economics, but you also undermine all that we did to fight to have fair working conditions.
Now, officials say there are thousands of jobs in the restaurant and hospitality industry in New York City and farm jobs upstate. The mayor says he's also worried about what's happening to some of the women who have arrived here. Dana.
Marcia, thank you so much. Stay with CBS News New York for continuing coverage of the asylum seeker crisis. We have much more on our website, including a look at how the city, as Marcia mentioned, is preparing to welcome migrant families with small children. That's at cbsnewyork.com.